What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blueblood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, 8-division world champion, legendary, iconic, superstar boxer, Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao, who's currently the WBA welterweight world champion, will be facing off against UFC legendary superstar Conor McGregor. This will be Conor McGregor's second opportunity and second time competing in a crossover sports competition. He did so against Floyd Mayweather, and this seems to be the route that everybody loves to take in following the path of Floyd Money Mayweather, former legendary pound-for-pound, undefeated, retired king. 5-division world champion Floyd Money Mayweather. See, Floyd Money Mayweather is a trendsetter. A lot of people don't like the path that he always takes. People disagree with it. But then you see the boxers, his era or coming up behind him, following his footsteps, right? And so with that said, I believe this is en route for Manny Pacquiao to stay busy, not risk a huge fight, unification bout, with undefeated unified WBC IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr. I believe Manny Pacquiao and his team, and everybody included, could be being cautious as far as putting Manny Pacquiao in the ring with a serious boxing contender and run the risk of him losing the WBA title, run the risk of losing a mega showdown with Errol Spence, because that will be massive, especially if Errol Spence, is successful against Danny Garcia, and his pay-per-view is going to be successful. So that will be 3 successful pay-per-views for Errol Spence, from Mikey Garcia, Sean Porter, and now Danny Garcia. What better way to place him in the ring with Manny Pacquiao, who's a legend, like I stated, an 8-division world champion, and he's currently the WBA champion. So this is a win-win for both guys, Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao. Why you say that, Blue? Because if Manny Pacquiao is somehow able to beat Errol Spence Jr. and become the WBA, WBC, IBF, and I'm sure the Ring Magazine will be on the line, welterweight world champion, in the second half on the wrong side of 40, in the second half of his career when people are already saying he's 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the sport, and he's a Senate in his home country looking to run for president on the wrong side of 40, that's not a cherry on the top of his career. That's not icing on the top. That's a whole nother cake he's done baked. You understand? And on top of it, it's a big money fight. Now, keep this in mind. Conor McGregor, nobody expects Conor McGregor to beat Manny Pacquiao. And if he was able to beat Manny Pacquiao, guess what? Manny Pacquiao doesn't lose his status as the WBA champion, right? Manny Pacquiao is not going to lose his status in the sport of boxing. And more than likely, Manny Pacquiao is 90% chance he's going to beat Conor McGregor. I don't even give Conor McGregor, I'm just being generous because he is a combat sport athlete. But I'm finding it hard-pressed to give him 10% chance to even compete with Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao is a different animal than Floyd Mayweather. He's not going to carry Conor McGregor. You understand? No, Manny Pacquiao is going to unleash it. He's going to be there to prove a point. Conor McGregor will not be able to deal with the style of Manny Pacquiao, even though Manny Pacquiao is smaller than Floyd Mayweather. Conor McGregor is going to be much bigger. But what Manny Pacquiao brings to the table, he's going to dominate Conor McGregor. But it's a huge pay-per-view event. It's a way to put Manny Pacquiao back in the spotlight of the casual fans and the hardcore boxing fans and place him back on the top. After beating Adrian Broner, beating Keith Thurman, now going in with Conor McGregor with a fight looming for that has implications on the sport, the ranking system, and the titles with Errol Spence Jr. But obviously, Manny Pacquiao needs to stay busy. But do you want to run the risk of putting Manny Pacquiao in there with Mikey Garcia and he come up short? Mikey Garcia is a Hall of Famer. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's a 4-division world champion. He's has excellent timing. He's a counterpuncher, so he can upset the apple cart and defeat Manny Pacquiao? Do you want to put Manny Pacquiao in there with a Jordanis Ugas and run the risk of the same situation happening with Jeff Horn and Manny Pacquiao? That's why you see them inserting Conor McGregor into the equation, because this is a huge money fight for for Manny Pacquiao, for Conor McGregor. It's an event for the sport of boxing, right? And the risk is not as high as him actually competing with an actual boxer who's in the ranking system, who has history in the sport of boxing and has legendary status. So you don't want to run the risk of that and run the risk of upsetting the apple cart. See, this goes deeper than on the surface that you guys see. So Errol Spence, this is a telltale sign that they're definitely looking to make the Errol Spence-Manny Pacquiao fight next. Errol Spence laid out his 3-fight plan when he told the world that he wanted to fight Danny Garcia, he wanted to fight Manny Pacquiao in a unification bout after Danny Garcia, and then he wanted to go into that massive mega showdown with undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, and currently the WBO welterweight world champion, Terrence Bud Crawford. Guess what? This gives Errol Spence all the advantages going into the Terrence Crawford fight. Should he beat Danny Garcia, beat Manny Pacquiao, and become the WBA, WBC, IBF, and Ring Magazine world champion, and more than likely the IBO world champion, going into and doing another successful pay-per-view with Manny Pacquiao, going into that Terrence Crawford fight, it just heightens the event of Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, and it gives Errol Spence all the advantages as far as the negotiations go. He has the upper hand in everything, not to mention he's going to be garnering more and more experience heading into the Terrence Crawford fight. A style with Danny Garcia was a counterpuncher with power in both hands. Very awkward, unorthodox, very quick southpaw with very fast hands with power in his left hand and a beautiful right hook, Terrence Crawford. But I'm speaking of Manny Pacquiao. So you see the experience that Errol Spence will be getting going into the Terrence Crawford fight. He would have faced a southpaw with very fast hands, like Terrence Crawford, with a power in his left hand, like Terrence Crawford, like with a beautiful right hook, like Terrence Crawford, in Manny Pacquiao, with Manny Pacquiao's faster feet than Terrence Crawford, and he has more experience. So you see, that's going to be a blockbuster, Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao. This is all, the Conor McGregor fight is a low risk, high reward for Manny Pacquiao. That way, it's a very low risk. You run, you have upsetting the future with Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao. So now you have Manny Pacquiao in four major fights on the PBC. You have Adrian Broner fight, then you had the Keith Thurman fight. Now you have the Conor McGregor, which, like I said, doesn't have any implications on the sport of boxing, the ranking system, the titles, and things of that nature, right? But it's a money maker. It's a awareness fight. When I mean awareness, is going to tap into household names. You're going to bring a whole different market from the UFC market into the sport of boxing, right? They're going to build it up as he couldn't do it against Manny Pacquiao's rival, Floyd Mayweather. Can he do it against Manny Pacquiao and Conor McGregor, right? And it's going to do massive pay-per-view numbers, and it's going to bring in huge revenue. And then Manny Pacquiao wins that. Once again, you like, oh, well, Manny Pacquiao is back on the scene. He got it again. And then you set Manny Pacquiao to face Errol Spence Jr. Now, Errol Spence, you help Errol Spence build his name, because at this point, Errol Spence is not the pay-per-view star that Manny Pacquiao is. He's not the legend that Manny Pacquiao is. But you bring in Manny Pacquiao into the equation with Errol Spence Jr. Now you help bolstering Errol Spence Jr. legacy, his name, his household name, because you're going to get some of those UFC fans. They're going to tune in. They're going to tap in to Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence Jr. because they're going to be even more familiar with Manny Pacquiao, because Manny Pacquiao is for the legend from the sport that they are favoring in the UFC. You understand? You see how this works? It's dominoes. This is chess, not checkers. So you're going to get Conor McGregor and Manny Pacquiao team, and people have confirmed that they will be fighting Conor McGregor. they're looking at the end of 2020. I don't know how realistic that is, right? Maybe December. I don't know how realistic that is. But early 2021, there was reports coming from Freddie Roach and Team Pacquiao that he wasn't going to fight again in 2020. So maybe it's early 2021 that sets up a fight between Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao in about May of 2021. Mark my words. But that's all I got for y'all. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.